The goddess grows impatient, Mama Agbama warned. If the sinner does not confess, Ani will unleash her fury. Still, Nenna kept silent. Hi, my amazing viewers. Before we dive into this incredible story, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Make sure to turn on the notification bell so you're the first to know when we post a new video. And let us know where you're watching from in the comments section. We'd love to hear from you. Once upon a time, in a quiet and peaceful African village called Umwokwe, the air was thick with whispers of the unseen. This was a place where traditions held the villagers together like threads in a tapestry, and the laws of Ani, the goddess of morality and fertility, were sacred. To break these laws was not only to betray the village, but to invite wrath so terrifying it became the stuff of legends. In this village lived a woman named Nenna, strikingly beautiful and admired by many. She was married to Obiora, a wealthy farmer known for his kindness and generosity. But beauty, as the elders often said, could sometimes be a curse. Despite her good fortune, Nenna was restless. Her heart had strayed to a traveling merchant who often passed through the village. His charm, his sweet words, and the forbidden excitement he brought were too much for her to resist. One fateful day, Nenna broke her sacred vows and succumbed to temptation. She thought her secret was safe, hidden beneath the layers of her graceful smiles and poised demeanor. But in Umwokwe, secrets had a way of surfacing, especially when the gods were watching. Weeks later, during the annual festival of Ani, the village gathered at the sacred shrine to offer their sacrifices. It was a joyous occasion, filled with music, dancing, and the aroma of roasted yams. But as the villagers sang praises to Ani, something dark began to stir. As the priestess, Mama Agboma, prepared to conclude the ritual, she suddenly froze. Her eyes widened, and her voice dropped to a whisper that sent chills through the crowd. Aru, Aru, an abomination has been committed. Ani is angry. The villagers fell silent. The once celebratory air turned cold with fear. Mama Agboma's trembling hands reached for the sacred chalk, which she sprinkled on the ground. Her voice grew louder, more urgent. Someone has defiled our land. Someone has spat upon the laws of Ani. If the sinner does not confess and cleanse themselves, Ani's wrath will descend upon us all. A murmur spread through the crowd. Who could it be? Mothers clutched their children tightly and men exchanged uneasy glances. Mama Agboma's piercing eyes scanned the crowd. Step forward now, she commanded, her voice cutting through the silence like a blade. Nenna stood among the villagers, her heart pounding in her chest. She felt as though Mama Agboma's gaze lingered on her for a moment too long. Sweat trickled down her back, but she kept her face composed. She convinced herself that no one would ever know. Days passed, and the village began to suffer. Livestock died inexplicably. The rivers turned murky, and crops withered under the sun. Children cried through the nights, haunted by strange and terrible dreams. The villagers grew desperate, pleading with Mama Agboma for answers. The goddess grows impatient, Mama Agboma warned. If the sinner does not confess, Ani will unleash her fury. Still, Nenna kept silent. One night, as the village gathered for an emergency meeting, a chilling wind swept through the square. The lanterns flickered, and shadows seemed to dance on the walls. A low, mournful wail echoed from the direction of the shrine. The villagers froze in terror as Mama Agboma stood abruptly, her voice booming with authority. The goddess has marked the guilty. The next morning, the village woke to a horrifying sight. Nenna sat outside her home, clutching her legs and crying uncontrollably. Her screams pierced the air as her feet began to change before their eyes. The smooth, dark skin twisted and stretched, her toes merging into two grotesque hooves. Villagers gathered, their eyes wide with terror. Some screamed, others ran. Mothers shielded their children, and men stood frozen, unable to comprehend what they were witnessing. Mama Agboma arrived, her face grim. The goddess has revealed the sinner, she said, pointing at Nenna. This is the price of your betrayal. Nenna collapsed to the ground, wailing, I am sorry. I have sinned. I betrayed my husband, my people, and Ani herself. Please have mercy. The villagers gasped. Obiora, who had been standing silently in the crowd, fell to his knees, his face a mixture of heartbreak and humiliation. But Mama Agbama was unmoved. "Mercy?" she said coldly. "The time for mercy has passed. You were given a chance to confess, and you remained silent. Now you must face Annie's judgment." The villagers were gripped by fear as Mama Agbama ordered Nenna to go to the sacred grove alone. "You must beg Annie for forgiveness," she said. "But be warned, many who enter the grove never return." Under the pale light of the moon, Nenna began her journey. The path to the grove was dark and eerie, lined with ancient trees that seemed to whisper her name. Shadows moved in the corners of her vision, and the hoots of owls echoed like mocking laughter. As she reached the heart of the grove, a chilling silence enveloped her. The air grew heavy, and the ground beneath her hooves felt alive, pulsating with an unnatural energy. She fell to her knees, tears streaming down her face. "Oh, Ani, forgive me. I was weak. I was foolish. Please spare me." The wind howled, and a voice, neither male nor female, boomed through the grove. "You defied me. You defiled my land. Why should I spare you?" Nenna sobbed, but the voice continued, cold and merciless. "You will live as a reminder of what happens to those who break my laws. Your beauty will fade, and your betrayal will mark you forever." The next morning, the villagers found Nenna at the edge of the grove. Her once beautiful face was twisted and aged beyond recognition. Her hooves remained, and her voice was gone. She could only cry silently as the villagers, horrified and shaken, turned away from her. From that day on, Nenna became a cautionary tale, her tragic fate a warning to all who dared to break the sacred laws of Ani. The village of Umakwe never forgot the price of betrayal, and Nenna's cries haunted the village for generations to come. The moral lesson of this story is Tag's secrets and betrayal may remain hidden for a time, but the truth will always surface, often with devastating consequences. Uphold integrity and honor, for no wrongdoing escapes justice.